Hello students, laugh at your mistakes but learn from them. Joke over your troubles but gather strength from them. Have fun with your difficulties but overcome them. With this beautiful message, let us start today's work. Last class we have completed plant tissues. Today we are going to start animal tissues. When we breathe, we can actually feel the movement of our chest. How do these body parts move? For this, we have specialized cells called muscle cells. Do the plants have muscle cells? No. The contraction and relaxation of these cells result in movement of body parts. So, muscle cells help in movement of body parts. During breathing, we inhale oxygen. Where does this oxygen go? It is absorbed in the lungs and then is transported to all the body cells through blood. Why do food cells need oxygen? Yes, to release energy from food. We need oxygen. Blood flows and carries various substances from one part of the body to other. For example, it carries oxygen and food to all cells. Food is digested in the small intestine. Digestion completes in the small intestine. So in the abdominal cavity. From there it must reach to each cell. So blood is carrying digested food from the intestine to the cells. Oxygen from lungs to the cells where energy is released. During this process, carbon dioxide is also produced that has to be removed from the body. Blood carries this back to the lungs and from where it is expelled out. It also collects waste from all parts of the body and carries them to liver and kidney for disposal. So, blood carries materials from one part to the other part of the body. Blood and muscles are both examples of tissues found in our body. On the basis of the functions they perform, we can think of different types of animal tissues, such as epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and nervous tissue. Epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and nervous tissue. Blood is a type of connective tissue and muscles form muscular tissue. So, animal tissues can be broadly divided into 4 types: epithelial, connective, muscular, and nervous. Connective blood is an example of connective tissue and muscle cells form the muscular tissue. First, we are going to discuss about epithelial tissue. The covering or protective tissue in the animal body are epithelial tissues. So, the covering or protective tissues in the animal body are epithelial tissues. Epithelium covers most organs. So, it covers most organs and cavities within the body. It also forms a barrier to keep different body systems separate. So, it forms a barrier to keep different body systems separate. The skin, the lining of the mouth, the lining of blood vessels, lung alveoli, and kidney tubules are all made of epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue cells are tightly packed. Now we are going to discuss the features of epithelial tissue. These are tightly packed and form a continuous sheet, that is, which can be compared to the epidermis of plants. They have only a small amount of cementing material between them and almost no intercellular spaces. Obviously, anything entering or leaving the body must cross at least one layer of epithelium. As a result, the permeability of the cells of various epithelia play an important role in regulating the exchange of materials between the body and the external environment. And also also between different parts of the body. Regardless of the type, all epithelium is usually separated from the underlying tissue by an extracellular fibrous basement membrane. So, all epithelium is usually separated from underlying tissue. It is a tissue and that tissue is separated from the other tissue by an extracellular fibrous basement membrane. So, let us see the types of epithelial tissue. These are squamous, cuboidal, columnar, stratified and glandular. Different epithelia show different structures that correlate with their unique functions. For example, in cells lining blood vessels or lung alveoli, where transportation of substances occurs through a selectively permeable surface, there is a simple flat kind of epithelium. This is called simple squamous epithelium. Simple squamous epithelium. Simple squamous epithelial cells are extremely thin and flat and form a delicate lining. The esophagus and the lining of the mouth are also covered with squamous epithelium. So, esophagus and the lining of the mouth are covered with squamous epithelium. Let us see the diagram of squamous epithelial tissue. These are the thin, flat, irregular shaped cells. This is nucleus, basement membrane. This is squamous epithelial tissue. The skin which protects the body is also made of squamous epithelium. Skin epithelial cells are arranged in many layers to prevent wear and tear. So, it is arranged in many layers to prevent wear and tear. Skin epithelial cells. Since they are arranged in a pattern of layers, the epithelium is called stratified squamous epithelium. So, these are called stratified squamous epithelium. See the diagram of stratified squamous epithelial tissue. See, these are the cells which are arranged in layers. These all are cells which are arranged in layers, and this is called stratified squamous epithelial tissue. Where absorption and secretion occur, as in the inner lining of the intestine, tall epithelial cells are present. Tall epithelial cells are present. This columnar or pillar-like epithelium facilitates movement across the epithelial barrier. In the respiratory tract, the columnar epithelial tissue also has cilia. So, in the respiratory tract, the columnar epithelial tissue has cilia, which are hair-like projections on the outer surfaces. So, what are cilia? These are hair-like projections on the outer surface of the epithelial cells. These cilia can move, and their movement pushes the mucus forward to clear it. So, it pushes the respiratory tract, it pushes the mucus to clear it. This type of epithelium is thus ciliated columnar epithelium. So, if it has cilia, these are called ciliated columnar epithelium. See the diagram of columnar epithelial cells, column like, that is pillar like. So, these are the cells. This is the nucleus, here this is ciliated, that is the outer surface, it has this brush like or hair like cilia, which helps in movement of some substances. It can push some substances to clear it. Cuboidal epithelium with cube-shaped cells form the lining of kidney tubules and ducts of salivary glands. So the cells of this tissue are cube-shaped. So the term given cuboidal epithelium. These are found in the lining of kidney tubules and ducts of salivary glands, where it provides mechanical support. The function of this mechanical support. Epithelial cells. So let us first see the cuboidal cells. See diagram of cuboidal epithelial tissue. Here you see the cells are cube shaped, right? So cuboidal epithelial tissue. This is the nucleus, basement membrane. So these are the cells of cuboidal epithelial tissue. Epithelial cells often acquire additional specialization as gland cells. So they acquire additional specialization and form gland cells, which can secrete substances at the epithelial surface. Sometimes a portion of the epithelial tissue folds inward and a multicellular gland is formed. This is glandular epithelium. See, the cells at times it may get enfolded and it forms a gland, right? And it is able to secrete substances. So when it get enfolded and forms a gland, this is what we say glandular epithelium. Now what are the functions of epithelial tissue? Protection, providing mechanical support, secretion, absorption, excretion, filtration, diffusion or transportation of substances, and also sensory perception. These are the functions of epithelial tissue. Now in this diagram, let us find out where are different types of epithelial tissue found in our body. In the lung alveoli, lungs made up of has air sacs called alveoli. So the lung alveoli, inner lining of the mouth, lining of esophagus, which I have drawn with yellow, we find squamous epithelial cells. Inner lining of the small intestine, respiratory tract, that is, which I have drawn with blue, we find columnar epithelial cells. Ducts of salivary gland, see, which I have just marked this in orange. These are found in the lower and upper jaws. In the kidney tubules, so kidney tubules in the lower and upper jaws, we find cuboidal epithelial cells. And skin, this we find stratified epithelial tissue. So Today we have learned different types of epithelial tissue. Thank you, children.